Hello and welcome to Sports Update. Today we'll be looking at the latest sports news from around the region and beyond.
We'll also look at the latest happening in college basketball and check out the big events in pro sports. I'm Wyatt Long.
And I'm Aiden Richardson. This is Sports Update on EU TV.
Thanks for joining us on Sports Update. Today we have the latest on Evangel Sports, and later special guest Sadie Chisholm from the Evangel women's basketball team will be here to talk about their season. But first, let's talk about Evangel's men's basketball.
The Evangel Valor hoped to secure the conference championship when they took on William Penn this past Monday night. The Valor came off of two tightly contested wins and came out of the gate swinging in hopes of building momentum early. The two teams traded points back and forth for the first half of the game. With a halftime score of 45-52, the Valor were trailing closely. Unfortunately, William Penn came out of the half swinging and built up an early lead. Despite some outstanding shots from Josh Pritchett and Cade Kaufman, the Valor were unable to regain the lead, and their regular season ended with a final score of 99-91. After a season full of ups and downs, the Valor went out strong, showcasing the grit and determination that is the EU Valor.
The Evangel women's basketball team ended their season this past week with a tough loss to the number 1 seeded Clark Pride. This game would take place in the quarterfinals of the Hart Conference. The Pride would outpace the Valor at nearly every turn, with their field goal percentage outdoing Evangel with 62.1% to Evangel's 31.4%. The high-paced scoring by the Pride would keep them ahead, but even so, the Valor never stopped fighting. Kanar Patton would lead the team in scoring with a game-high 9 points. Another standout includes Zoe Mullings, who led the team in assists and rebounds with 6 and 3 respectively. This put the Valor at 14 and 16 on the season. However, their record is deceptive, with stiff competition in nearly every single loss, along with a difficult end-of-the-year schedule. The Lady Valor proved themselves to be a team Evangel is proud of. Evangel's baseball team, unfortunately, were unable to play this past weekend when their highly anticipated doubleheader with Lincoln College was canceled. The cancellation is cited to be due to poor field conditions, likely caused by inclement weather that hit Lincoln, Illinois this past weekend. This moves the team's next game to March 1st as they look to get a big win at home against William Woods.
The Evangel softball team had 3 games this past weekend. The first contest saw the Valor take on Lawrence Tech in a dominating performance for the Valor. After a great offensive onslaught, the Valor defeated Lawrence Tech with a final score of 8-0. The Valor then took on Kentucky Christian in a game that would not render the results that the Valor were hoping for. The Valor came out strong, but Kentucky Christian rallied and defeated the Valor with a final score of 4-1. The Valor then took on Indiana Wesleyan in what would be the final contest of the weekend. Despite a strong effort, the Valor were defeated with a final score of 7-5. Some of the standout players for the Valor include Megan Stone, who scored twice in the first game, Carly Romines, who scored the lone point of the second game, and Allie Rayleigh, who also scored twice in the final game. These games put the Valor with a season record of 2-4.
Both men and women's tennis saw close defeats this past weekend. For the women, they lost a tightly contested match with John Brown University, the final being 3-4 in favor of John Brown. While Evangel failed to secure wins in the doubles portion of the match, some success was found in the singles matches. This includes Anna Bielica, who won her matches 6-1 and 6-2, as well as Abigail Cheney, who won her matches 6-0 and 6-1. The men also saw a close loss to John Brown, again with a final of 3-4 on the day. The men would find some success in the doubles matches with Daryl Wong and James McLaraith winning their match 6-4. James would also find success in his singles match, outscoring his opponent 6-1 both times. Sidney Dollar also had a standout singles performance, winning his match 6-2 and 6-0. Overall, some difficult losses for the Valor, but still lots of talent being showcased by Evangel. I mean, and what else can you say? There was a lot of tough losses this week, both in all teams, but in every single loss, a lot of outstanding performances were still on display.
I agree. I think we saw that really good with tennis, as you just finished talking about, because we see that while the team may not have won, you said outstanding performances by multiple guys and girls. So I think that's just a great week for them. And then kind of along the same lines, men's basketball. A heartbreaking loss, but after the season they've had where it's been so up and down, it's really impressive, and it makes us very proud as Valor fans to see them go as far as they did.
And against a team like William Penn, which was ranked #1 for a very large majority of the season, as well as women's basketball, playing Clark, the #1 ranked team. And again, it might not have been the particular showing that the Valor wanted, but they did not stop playing. That fourth quarter, their stats are better than they are the rest of the game. Some incredible stuff from Evangel athletes.
I agree. And speaking of incredible stuff, we have the Evangel softball team giving us the one win of the week. So congratulations to them. And following that was 2 tough losses, but the softball team has kind of been on a weird hiatus due to some unknown reasons, really. So that's their first weekend back. I'm sure things will continue to improve.
Right. It's good to finally see them out on the field and playing.
Exactly.
Coming up later, we'll be checking on some of the big NHL and college basketball games that were played this past weekend.
And in just a few, I'll be here with women's basketball player Sadie Chisholm, who will talk about their season. Stay with us.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees?
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones
Don't even.
and explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
Welcome back to Sports Update. Here with us today is Sadie Chisholm to talk about the end of the season for women's basketball. Sadie, thanks so much for being here with us today on Sports Update.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, as I said, the basketball season is wrapped up, so what are your immediate thoughts on the end of the season?
Well, you know, you never like to see your season end a little bit early, but I mean, all we can do is start working hard for next season. I think we're all going to take about 2 weeks off and then start working towards next season.
Wow, that's not a whole lot of time off. So when you look back this season, what is something that you think that you guys did really good on? What was your biggest strength?
I think our biggest strength would be just kind of coming together, even though like there were some rough patches in the season, but I think that we were all there for each other no matter what. Whenever it got really hard, there were certain people that we could just talk to. And even Coach Bev has been always super open about, hey, you can come and talk to me with whatever is going on in your life. So that was really awesome.
So kind of just tailing off that, what would be something that you as a player can say, I think we need to work on this and focus on this?
I think just continuing to build team camaraderie, because that is so important. And when teams have it, they usually just play better together. And so I think just keep continuing to build that.
So Sadie, you are a junior here. You've been playing ball here for the past 3 years. How long have you been playing basketball? Like, what was your journey to get to Evangel as a women's basketball player?
So I actually started basketball in 2nd grade. From then, I just picked it up and I loved it. I played all throughout elementary school, and I played AAU basketball, which is like competitive basketball in the summer. And then I played all throughout high school. I had such a great time. I got to play with my sister in high school, and then she graduated, and then my team got to go to state my senior year, so that kind of drove me even harder. That was super cool. And then Coach Megan Lusinger, she actually recruited me, and then she ended up getting hired somewhere else this year, so now Coach Bev is here. But yeah, that's kind of how I got to college basketball.
So you just mentioned that you had a new coach coming in and out. How's the transition been as far as having one coach for the first 2 years and then having a different coach now?
With any new coaching change, it is difficult at first because there's all new theories, all new ways to coach, and some girls had a little bit hard time developing that trust. It takes a long time to build trust, even with a coach, but we did get there, and so it ended up being a really good change. So I'm excited for next year. Just kind of everybody kind of knows what's going on now, so we can just build from there.
You mentioned building, so how many players are you losing through graduation or maybe just moving on? Because obviously you want to keep building the team up, but so are you going to be losing some of your leaders, or what's going to happen there?
So we are actually graduating 3 seniors, and one of them unfortunately tore her ACL, so I haven't really heard if she's planning on coming back for a 5th year or not yet, but we are for sure graduating 2, and then maybe 1 coming back. We'll see.
So as a junior, you're starting to turn into one of the team leaders, I'm sure. So when you look down at the freshmen and sophomores, do you think that Evangel will be in good hands in a couple years when you're gone too?
I definitely do think so. We have some awesome freshmen and some really good incoming freshmen too that are going to come in this next season. And the upcoming sophomore group, they're going to be awesome and really great. And I think that they will do great things for Coach Bev.
I know you mentioned you finally have a couple weeks off. So what does the day in the life of a women's basketball player look like at Evangel?
So for preseason, that starts in August, and those consist of early morning workouts, and then sometimes we'll do 2 a day, so we'll do lifting and a workout, and a basketball workout, and then usually midweek, so Wednesdays, we have a scrimmage day, and then we do 2 a days all throughout preseason, and then once practice hits, those last about 2 hours, and so basically, whenever practice is, we just kind of plan our day around it, make sure we eat before, get enough food after, but we have about 2 hours carved out for that. And then we just go back to our dorm, shower, do homework, do everything that we can. And then towards the end of season, practices do get shorter because games become more frequent and more serious, so he wants to rest our bodies a little bit, but also get good practice in.
So Sadie, you're coming up on your senior season. What would be your biggest goal that you want to accomplish in your last year of basketball?
You know, I think I just want to end on a bang. Like, I'd love for us to make it to the national tournament. Unfortunately, we didn't this year. My freshman year, we were able to, but COVID-19 hit, so we never got the opportunity to go. So I think it would be great to go out how we kind of came in, like go to the national tournament. And then personally, I tore my ACL last May, and so now that I have some time off, I want to really get it strengthened and get that a lot better because I am hurting now that it's the end of season, and I did play maybe a little bit too soon, but I'm glad I did. Like, I wouldn't take that back for anything, but I want to just get stronger and strengthen my leg and then have a great season. Just have fun. I want to go out having fun.
That's what really matters. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, and best of luck on this last season coming up.
Thank you so much.
Coming up, we'll be looking at the most impactful games from this past weekend. Stay tuned.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
The St. Louis Blues took on the Chicago Blackhawks in a thrilling contest this past weekend. The term hockey fight is a very adequate term to describe the contest that we witnessed, as the Blues and the Blackhawks both entered the contest with points to prove. Despite a strong effort by the Chicago Blackhawks, the St. Louis Blues dominated Chicago. The standout players for the contest were Jordan Cairo and Pavel Bucevic, who scored the lone goals for the Blues. The contest would end with a final score of 4-0. This huge win puts the Blues with a season record of 32-14.
In the world of the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs welcomed home a familiar face when they signed former Bears head coach Matt Nagy as their new quarterbacks coach and senior assistant. Nagy previously spent 5 years with the Chiefs, from 2013 to 2017. Coach Nagy would find himself in the offensive coordinator position in 2016 and at the helm of a powerful Kansas City Chief offense. Kansas City hopes to recapture some of the magic that Nagy's previous run in the organization produced, especially since their previous quarterbacks coach, Mike Kafka, left Kansas City to be the offensive coordinator for the New York Giants this past offseason. With the Chiefs reportedly returning coordinator Eric Bieniemy and now Matt Nagy, the Chiefs seem to be looking to the past to secure their future.
The number 18 ranked team, the Arkansas Razorbacks, defeated the number 6 ranked team, the University of Kentucky, in what is considered to be a massive upset. The game revolved around Arkansas's J.D. Noete, who ended the game with 30 points, 8 assists, and 12 rebounds. Jalen Williams also added 16 points of his own, as well as another 12 rebounds. Arkansas coach Eric Musselman was quoted as saying this about the Razorbacks: "They are a tough team who showed up ready to play some basketball." After a tight game, the contest ended with a 75-73 Arkansas victory. This win will undoubtedly have huge implications for the upcoming season.
The SEC Women's Basketball Tournament returns to South Carolina for the next 3 seasons. The stadium in Greenville will be the location of the tournament starting in 2023 and spanning 3 seasons ending after the 2025 season. Greenville, South Carolina has proven to be a popular spot for the contest, seeing as the tournament has been held there 5 times before the new deal. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey was asked about the 3-year commitment, where he had this to say: "We look forward to once again partnering with our hosts in Greenville to provide a memorable experience for SEC student athletes, coaches, and fans in the years ahead." Well, some big news in pro sports this week. How about the Kansas City Chiefs bringing back a controversial coach in Matt Nagy, but bringing him back as an assistant? I think it could suit the role very well for him.
You know, it's kind of interesting. We see the Chiefs bringing back old coaches and bringing back new coaches, and you see the Broncos doing the same thing. The Raiders are doing the same thing. So it's kind of interesting to see how after the Super Bowl, all these teams that didn't do as well as they hoped to are reevaluating and changing things up.
And it's funny because you mentioned Chiefs Raiders, and the first word that comes to my mind is like rivalry. It's a slobber knocker, and that makes me think of that hockey game you mentioned. An incredible game.
I agree. You know, the Blues and the Chicago, they've always had this little bit of a rivalry, as you mentioned, so it was an incredible game. A lot of fights, a couple teeth probably missing after a game like that. But it was an all-out, drag-out war, and the Blues etched out a win, much like Arkansas did over the number 6 ranked team. That's huge.
Right, absolutely. And when you're talking about basketball, other huge news, the SEC, big 3-year deal. They are going to be staying in Greenville, South Carolina for the next 3 years for the SEC women's tournament. So big stuff.
That's exciting. You know, to have that place where you can go back to for the next 3 years is going to be huge for that sport.
Right, absolutely.
Well, coming up, we'll be looking at the players of the week and upcoming games that you don't want to miss. Stay tuned.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
My kids put skis on as they were learning to walk. I want my kids to be able to have those moments with their kids. Being a scientist, I'm worried about climate change in so many different ways for my kids. From the second you have a child, you want to do everything to protect them. I think our action on climate change is no different. It's just an extension of being a mom.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
It is now time to announce the Sports Update Evangel Player of the Week. This week, we highlight junior Allie Rayleigh.
We are highlighting Allie Rayleigh for her incredible performance this past weekend that led her to being named the NFCA Leadoff Classic All-Tournament Team. Rayleigh threw out 4 runners and only allowed 1 stolen base this weekend. She also batted .500 and recorded a home run. Congratulations to Allie. Well, you know what? It's good to see a softball athlete getting in here now that their season has finally started. And an incredible all-round performance, pitching the ball and hitting. Incredible stuff from Allie.
I agree. You know, we saw a great player play a great game, and it led to one of the only victories for Evangel this week. So just huge congratulations to her.
Absolutely. And that one win is because we have an Evangel Player of the Week. Incredible stuff.
Well, let's take a look at the upcoming games this week in Evangel. Men and women's track and field runs Saturday, March 19th at Central Methodist University at the Outdoor Invitational at Fayetteville, Missouri.
Softball plays on March 5th versus Northeastern Oklahoma State at Meteor Park at 3 p.m. and versus Nebraska Kearney again at Meteor Park at 5 p.m.
The baseball team plays today versus William Woods University at Evangel University at 2 p.m. and Friday, March 4th versus Columbia at Evangel University at 12 p.m. and 2:30 p.m.
Men's tennis plays on March 5th versus the University of the Ozarks at the Cooper Tennis Complex at 2 p.m.
Women's tennis plays Saturday, March 5th versus the University of the Ozarks at Cooper Tennis Complex at 2 p.m. Let's go Evangel Valor.
Now, Aiden, I see all these sports in here, but I'm curious about men's basketball because even though they lost, they should possibly. Are they able to qualify for the national tournament?
I don't know. Let's take a look at those standings and find out. So we see here that Evangel as the second at the top of the list, followed by, or the person on top is William Penn, who actually defeated them and knocked them out of the conference. And we see Central Methodist closely following in Grandview as well. So with a season record as high as Evangel has, being the number 2 in the conference, in theory, that should very well qualify them for nationals.
It is worthy of note that while Central Methodist is below Evangel, they have the same amount of wins, just one more game played and one more loss added to that. So let's keep our eyes peeled and our ears ready to see if Evangel makes it into the national tournament. Well, that is all the time we have today for Sports Update. I'm Wyatt Long.
And I'm Maiden Richardson. Be sure to join us next week as we bring you the latest in sports news. This has been Sports Update on EU TV.